Today I'm going to be doing a little budget book haul for January and February. I'm calling it a budget book haul because most of these books were either free or thrifted, and I will elaborate as I get into the books. So for the first couple of months I acquired 18 physical books, which is a lot given that I tend to struggle to actually read books I own. I make liberal use of my library. And I've picked up quite an interesting collection of stuff I've heard about and stuff I've never heard about and stuff that was interesting for other reasons. So my first two are some books I picked up from a small bookstore. This is the first volume of the graphic novel Saga. I know I've read the first volume from my friend, but that was like 10 years ago. And this was one of the few series where I'm like, yes, I would like to own physical copies of them. They're an old enough, popular enough series that it should be pretty easy to find them secondhand. So that's where that came from. And then I have been wanting to pick up something by Louise Erdrich for a while, and I picked up the Master Butcher Singing Club. The bookstore had a couple of titles, and this was the one I ended up going with. The next couple of books were kind of a surprise. These are Winter Counts and Betty. These are two Indigenous authored novels, and I actually won these as part of a giveaway from Indigathon back in November. They didn't arrive until January. Not complaining, just that's why they're in this haul. And it was kind of a pleasant surprise to receive this package and be like, what happened? Did I order some books while I was blackout drunk and completely forgot about it? And then I opened it and I'm like, oh, they're the books from the giveaway. Fun. I have already read Winter Counts, and I talk about it in my January wrap-up, which I think is my most recent video. So go check that out if you're interested. So, yay. And then these next three books for January I got from a little free library in my neighborhood. I have quickly realized I have a problem with little free libraries because there are so many in my neighborhood, and I've documented all of the ones I've ever found. So when I go for a walk, I kind of plan my route to go check out what's new. And I've had to stop carrying a bag with me, otherwise I come home with 4 or 5 books every time. But anyway, before I did that, I picked up A is for Alibi, Jane Austen, Northanger Abbey, and Angel's Game by Carlos Ruiz Zafon. So I grabbed this because this is the author of Shadow of the Wind, which is a title I have heard kicked around a lot. I don't remember all of the reasons why that is such a well-known title. Do people love it? Do people hate it? I don't really remember. But I figured, hey, I'll read this one or try to read it, and if the writing intrigues me, then that's more motivation to pick up the other title. I've heard a lot of people say that Northanger Abbey is actually their favorite Jane Austen novel. Oh, and this one used to belong to the library, so that's kind of interesting. And also went through half-price books. You find the weirdest stuff in free libraries, but that's part of the appeal. And then A is for Alibi. I think it was Noelle Gallagher has been reading a couple of these books. I don't remember if it was for class or just for interest. I don't read a lot of mystery, but this felt like a nice little digestible first in a series, which is also a thing that's a good find in a free library, is you'll find book 3 and 4 and 5, but you'll be missing book 1. Okay, so that was January. And then, yes, February, here were more from a free library. I picked up The Talented Mr. Ripley. I fucking love this movie. It's a psychological thriller, and I think it's one of the movies that shows that Matt Damon is actually a really good actor, but I think that most people don't really think of him as such. I thought I'd read the book, see if I like the book as well as I like the movie. On a similar vein, Silence of the Lambs. I think I've seen the entire movie. I might have seen it on cable with commercials or something, but I remember liking it, and I don't read a lot. Is this horror, or is this again like a psychological thriller? It deals with cannibalism, so I assume it's also horror, but I'm kind of dipping my toes in horror and finding what I gel with and what I don't. So anyway, cool. Dead Until Dark, which is the first in the vampire series that True Blood is based on. That's another one that I've only seen like 1 or 2 episodes of, and it was like 10 years ago, and I don't know. Vampires, let's see what the big deal is. And then this is a nonfiction I picked up called A Girl's Guide to Missiles, Growing Up in America's Secret Desert. And this is a memoir, I believe, from a woman who grew up in an area where they manufacture missiles. What is it? The China Lake Missile Range, shrouded in secrecy since its creation in World War II, is located on the stretch of Mojave Desert about the size of Delaware. Anyway, so that just sounded like a little slice of life of an industry that definitely exists and I know nothing about, probably by design. Anyway, cool. Alright, then I've got a couple that I actually purchased. This is another thrift book haul. First we've got Evicted, Poverty and Profit in the American City. This one's been on my nonfiction TBR for a little bit, and I saw it and I'm like, cool, great. This changes everything. This was something that was recently added to my TBR in terms of nonfiction that talks about climate change. This is a recommendation from Lena Norms. I feel like I get a lot of my nonfiction recs from Lena Norms, but I feel like our interests are very aligned in what writing style and themes of nonfiction speak to us. And then I am definitely on a learning about space kick, so I picked up Stephen Hawking. This is The Universe in a Nutshell. I have read The Universe by Isaac Asimov, Cosmos by Carl Sagan, Astrophysics by People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson. So I figured it was time for some Stephen Hawking. And this one I picked up because there's a lot of illustrations and diagrams in there. I mean, oh, here's a depiction of how gravity curves space. But I have found that diagrams definitely help my brain understand some of these concepts, so I'm excited for this. And then this next bundle, these are all books that are borrowed from my in-laws. So, Before the Broken Star, Into the Hourglass, and Everafter Song is a trilogy by Emily R. King. This is an author that I personally know, and I've read her 100th Queen series and enjoyed it. This is YA fantasy. I'm gonna guess this has something to do with like time travel, but I enjoyed her other stuff. I'd like to support her and read her new stuff that comes out, but these were the copies that my mother-in-law to be, these are the ones she owned, and she's like, well, you should just borrow mine instead of like trying to buy your own copies. So cool. And then this is Transcription by Kate Atkinson. This is a political thriller, I think. This was, I actually gifted this to my father-in-law to be. I don't know his thoughts on it yet, but he's read it because he reads stuff probably even faster than I do. But he had asked me, like, when I'm done reading this, is this something you would be interested in picking up? And I'm like, sure, this isn't really a genre that I am at all familiar with, but in order to be able to give good gifts in the book realm, I'd be interested in trying to get a feel for that genre, in order to be better informed when I try to recommend things to him or buy things as a gift. So, we'll see. That's the book haul. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I encourage you to go out into the world and be curious. I have other social media places where you can find me in the description box below. I will also have a list of all of these books with their authors in case you want to refer to them. And I will catch you folks in my next video. Bye!